Tom DiSalvi. I'm the Vice President of Safety, Driver Training, and Compliance for Schneider, and I'm here to talk about the proposed notice of rulemaking for the current hours of service. The Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration has recently released a notice of proposed rulemaking for the hours of service that would modify several components of the current hours of service regulations. Schneider's number one core value is safety first and always. So in evaluating these rules, safety will of course be first and foremost. The five separate components of the hours of service that are currently contained in the proposed notice of rulemaking include the short haul exemption, a component for adverse driving, the 30-minute rest break, the sleeper berth time period, and what is referred to as the pause, or the potential to stop the clock during the course of a workday. I'll talk about each of them very briefly. For the short haul exemption, it would be expanding the 100-mile air radius for a 12-hour workday from 12 hours to 14 hours, and from 100 miles to 150 miles in a given work period. For adverse driving, currently the FMCSA allows for additional 2 hours of driving, but only to the 11-hour period. In this proposal, it would allow it to the entire 14-hour workday. For a 30-minute rest break, currently what's required is drivers need to take a 30-minute rest break after 8 hours of on-duty time. The proposal would allow any time spent on duty or off duty in the first 8 hours to account for that 30-minute rest break. And the sleeper berth component would allow a driver to have one period of 7 hours, of at least 7 hours rest break, and another of at least 2 hours, ultimately until a driver takes a 10-hour break. And then finally, what's referred to again as the pause would allow a driver to essentially pause the 14-hour workday so that they could take a break during the course of that time, and it would not count against the workday, and essentially drive when they are alert and take a break when they feel tired during the course of the workday. There's a belief that the notice of proposed rulemaking will lead to increased productivity and perhaps even mitigate the electronic logging device mandate. However, within the rules themselves, there's no indication that that's the case. The rules were really designed to increase driver flexibility, but to do so without allowing any additional or maximum drive time allowed by the driver. According to the notice of proposed rulemaking, the drivers may see a change in the hours that they work per day, both hours driving or non-driving, as well as the miles that they drive in an individual day, miles as defined by the FMCSA, VMT, or vehicle miles traveled. However, on an aggregate basis, the proposal does not expect to see any overall changes in total hours for the drivers worked or miles traveled. In other words, it's just a reorganization of the work that they're doing on any given day. As typical with rulemaking, this notice of proposed rulemaking process will follow the typical comment period, but also, as is typical of past rules, it's possible that this proposal could face some legal challenges which may extend the finalization of the rule or the implementation rule up to a year or even longer. Schneider is going to continue to monitor and evaluate the hours of service proposal and determine any additional flexibility that may benefit our driver associates.